This is the Escape Podcast for Star Wars The Old Republic. Summer Update 5.9.2 is live. Sorry, the music a little bit loud. 5.9.2 is live, and we'll talk through the updates from inside the new Rishi Stronghold, and we'll cover some of the other game and guild news. This broadcast, Astromech over here, is EPC 253. And playing alongside me is Seema. Hi, Seema. How's it going?
It's going very morally gray.
Stop it.
It's actually going pretty good. Well, actually, it's going very bad because this week where I live in Maine, it's been hot and so super humid. It's like everyone is just walking around complaining about the weather. We're not talking about any other thing. It's just like, hi, how you doing? Weather.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
We went to, we decided to go out to eat tonight because we wanted to go someplace where it was air conditioned. And we walked into the restaurant. And I'm like, it's no cooler in here. And they go, yeah, our AC is broken.
Oh, that's terrible.
And we said,
leave?
okay. Yes,
Yeah.
we left.
Well, that's what you get.
And we went to the restaurant we ended up going to. This is totally an aside. Had mashed potato pizza, so that's what we got.
Wow.
It was really good. I didn't think it would be, but it was. So yeah, weather is a big deal. But yeah, this week in Conquest, the Conquest week that just ended, we actually hit large on both sides. We were focusing on the pub side, but we kind of accidentally hit large on the imp side as well.
Wow.
And by accidentally, I mean one of our big contributors actually put almost the whole amount of points in just restocking his components in his crafting empire. So we just had like about 100,000 we had to get done on Sunday, which, you know, I think actually I did like 2K of that, and then probably Sakic did all the rest. But so we ended up large side on both sides, but our focus was on pub side. So anyway, that was good. I got 4 characters to go on the pub side, and then I slipped in an imp character at the end, which that was the one that I was doing rampages on Yavin 4 when I noticed that she hadn't been wearing any armor for like 2 days. And I just thought, just leave it that way.
Yeah.
It's obviously working, right?
Right. I like that story. Yeah, it seems to be working.
Yeah.
It's working for me.
When we just finished a really fun MFM, which we did tonight at Karagas Palace, but it was, for some reason, we had 6 Marauders. At least 6, maybe 8.
Really?
Marauders in the ops. So it was Marauder joke after Marauder joke, and we were talking about, you know, who was maraudering, and that was very maraudery. And I personally, and I've said this before, I like it when the group is mostly melee because I know where everybody is.
Oh, really?
To chase them down.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, and they're probably grouped up, and you can drop AoE heals on them easier and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Right. I mean, they stand in more stuff, but
yeah,
you know, I don't have to think or move, or I know where they all are. Yeah. So that was a really fun night. And that was pretty much my week. How about you, Max?
I also had a fun week with that Conquest Challenge. It was a Republic week, so we were focused on Republic, but as you said, Sakic mostly has Imperial characters in our guild, so he sort of went crazy from the Imperial perspective. And it did probably 900 to 1 million, between 900 and 1 million of that just by himself. And another 100K or so on the Republic side. So I think Smoke did a whole bunch of points at the end there. I did push one of my Imperial characters at the end to...
I mean, people were even like creating characters on the pub side to get Conquest, points on them.
I geared up my 60 Sentinel. That was one of the things I had on my list, who is now going to swiftly, with double XP this week, become another 70 Sentinel so I can contribute better on the Republic side in future weeks.
Yeah. My Sentinel is like level 66, so it's his time too.
There we
go. One of my male characters.
Order 66. There's Speedy.
Yes.
I was a little worried there for a second. I was looking for Speedy. He is doing okay. Protect.
Yeah, Max threatened the guild.
I did. I threatened them slightly. Hashtag protect Speedy. Yeah, so I did that. I did 5 characters on the Republic side, 1 character on the Imperial side. I did it a lot with crafting, so I finally buckled down and said, fine, I'm going to do it with crafting. I'm going to learn how to do it with crafting, and I crafted up. I got into the groove. I had a bunch of mats that I had been gathering for weeks, burned through a lot of them, but I did a bunch in arms tech, I did a bunch in artifice, and I did a bunch in biochem, and did the bulk of my 6 characters with crafting. Because I was not around, I did not do any operations this week because we had our guild summer events, so I didn't get any of those 7,500 point totals on any of my characters.
Same here.
So that made it tougher. I did
and it was only 1 rampage.
Yeah, so I just did the 1 rampage. I did 1, you could only do 1 invasion force a day, and then it was a bunch of crafting. And I did quite a bit of PvP. I did do PvP. I tried to do GSF, but I was queuing up for both PvP and GSF, and PvP kept popping sooner. So I was doing a bunch of PvP, mostly on my Commando, but I was also doing it on a couple other characters, including my Sentinel at lower level PvP. And I realized by the end of the match I was doing a ton of damage. In fact, I was one of the top damage dealers, but when you're a melee character in PvP, you just get torn up. So I did a bunch of damage, but I died the most and I took the most damage. So that was getting a little frustrating. Otherwise, Guild Week, it was our huge Guild Summer Week. We'll talk about it a little bit in the Guild news, but it was our summer events for AIE. Every summer we have a whole bunch of Guild events in all the games that we play. And I did a ton of those as well, including streaming, including watching other people's streams, including getting in guild events in 8 different MMOs that I was in this week. 7, 6, maybe 6. I don't think I ended up getting in Final Fantasy. I was in Star Wars, World of Warcraft, Elder Scrolls, EVE, Star Trek, and Lord of the Rings. I did not make it to the Guild Wars one, and I don't think we had the Final Fantasy one at the last minute. But I do have characters in both of those too. So we'll talk about that a little bit too. That was fun, but that was taking up... Besides, getting 6 characters to Conquest, I barely played. I guess is what I'm saying.
Right, right.
So there's that. Let's talk about some news.
Now, an Imperial News Network report.
First up in the news, a news item which is near and dear to a lot of PvP players' hearts, which is quite related to this patch, because this patch is the whole PvP patch, so it's fits that they did a lot of work around this. They were very clear that they are cracking down in a big way on win trading. So there's a few posts up in the dev tracker which talk all about the win trading, how they are cracking down on it, what happens. They said a lot of their cracking down on win trading is through data mining and reporting and data tools where they can see who's backfilling, what matches you're in, how you're matching up against other players, and that kind of thing. They do take a lot of action based on player reports, but that is an indicator for them to investigate. What that does not do is initiate an automatic suspend or any kind of action. So to be clear, the player reports are still very valuable to them, but you don't have to worry if somebody reports to you, even if they report you 10 times, that you're going to get action against you, because that is not the deciding factor. They look at the data. They also said, to be clear, you don't have to get reported to end up having action taken against you either. And then the actions are pretty significant. So they were clear on that too. So you can look it up, but it includes 7-day ban, and they take away all your ranking points, and they put you on the list, and they write angry words in their personal journals about how bad of a person you are. So don't do it.
I mean, they could go to account termination.
Yes, you do it. You get a couple strikes on you like that, and you can be permanently banned. Don't think that you can't. double negative, but
Oh, and
yeah.
all, yes. That was a good double negative. Also, they did an update on the Lana Marriage Bug, which apparently, if you had married Lana at one point, she would forget that, and then when you saw her, she would be like, "Oh, hi, Commander," and not, want to do the smacking and stuff. So, um, they
What did you just say?
the post they made, they posted about how it's fixed now. You might have the option of doing a quest, but you also do have the option if during this time you decided that you made a mistake and you didn't want to have married Lana, you can take that option as well. But it's irreversible, just like original marriage is, right? So
Technically.
you can fix your Lana situation in any way you please.
Yes, but be careful. I mean, they were pretty clear that you're getting a shot here to fix it up, but it's permanent after that. I guess it does end up permanent in Star Wars. Also up in the news, there are, and I have not tracked them down. I don't know the details, although I guess I could just look at Delphi's page right here that I have linked in the show notes. But there are secret achievements in the Rishi Stronghold, so we don't need to go into them in detail. But there's a little parkour jumping around achievement that'll get you a legacy title and I think just a legacy title and an achievement. And then there's another one that's related to Speedy the Turtle. And apparently there are ways for you to be quite brutally mean, permanently so, to Speedy, and end up with a slightly different situation on your beach. But do not do that.
Do not kill the guild Speedy.
Especially not in AIE's Guild Stronghold. I will be quite put out, if you know what I mean. Here's Speedy right here. Speedy is, you go unlock your own stronghold. You only have to do the base unlock, and you'll have Speedy running around the beach. You can go kill your own Speedy. You leave our guild Speedy alone. I don't think there's a way at this point to get him back. I know they talked about it in the test server, and I don't think there's currently a way to get him back, although maybe they'll put one in eventually. How about guild news, Seema?
Well, first off, we've instituted a new guild rule, which is do not kill Speedy in the guild Rishi Stronghold. Yeah. Also, we did have a mega event. Marcus has put on a very nice mega event, and fun was had by all. But he's planning for the next one, which is called Revenge of the Hutts. It's going to involve the Rishi Stronghold and some PvP. And if you're interested in helping him test out what he's going to do, he's going to try and get some people together on Friday night this week. But yeah, connect up with Marcus on Discord if you want to help out there. He says 9 p.m. Eastern to prep for Mega in the Rishi Guild Stronghold, but don't kill Speedy while you're here.
Right, this Friday.
Yeah.
This Friday for the PvP testing up there on the sky deck of the patrol craft, where we already have a guildie that has donated the arena, and it's already set up there. We're gonna get a bunch of other decorations set up, I'm sure. So, also Conquest this week is Imperial. I still have this note here that yes, we are still now conquerors of Balmora, which we will not let ourselves forget. But we're on the Imperial side this week. Keep an eye out. We've been going 2 weeks Imperial, 1 week Republic. We got it in our craws to bring balance back to the Force, if you know what I mean, and maybe go every other week. Republic, Imperial, Republic, Imperial, Republic, Imperial. If you know how that would work. I'm liking it.
You have If you have an opinion one way or the other, you can certainly drop in the Discord and make a comment about it. I'm watching
Yes.
for that.
So the reason we haven't just said we're doing that, we're pulling the trigger, is we do want to be careful about impact to people that only have Imperial characters. We're trying to feel it out a little bit, but we're pretty close to making that decision. So if you do have strong feelings one way or another, Zen, I know your feelings, so you don't need to post your Republic scum.
He actually
ideals.
did post his feelings though, and he had an interesting suggestion, which was 1 week pub, 1 week imp, 1 week rest, and that during the rest week, MFN and raid teams and stuff could do whatever they wanted.
I am not opposed to that either. Or like what we're
I'm not sure how that would work exactly, but yeah,
yeah.
I think it's interesting.
Yeah. So we definitely do want to institute rest weeks for Conquest. And I think this week is going to be a rest week. I think we may still end up medium and small. We may end up just seeing where the points lie by Thursday or Friday and pulling the trigger on medium. Definitely take this week as a rest week after last week of two large impacts. And the week before that is hitting our winning a planet. So we've been hitting it hard. I'm definitely going to rest up this week and take advantage of double XP, double CXP, and all that kind of thing. Also, shout out to the chat room, right, Seema? You can shout out.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to the chat room who shows up every week and helps us out with sound checks. Also keeping us, helping us improve our accuracy when we make dumbass statements. And yes, we love you guys.
Yes. Thank you for being here. And now we are going to talk a little bit about because we haven't talked about it in a while, we're going to talk about some changes to the game.
Game changer.
Game changer.
Game changer for...
Game changer for the industry.
Maybe not the whole industry this time, but this is a game changer. So patch 5.9.2, which is, sounds so significant in its numbering, I think is actually pretty significant. And I hope it's a sign of things to come, which is the opportunity and the institution of mechanics within the game that allow players to create their own content. I've talked about this before. I think I've already talked about it when we went onto the PTS and one of the podcasts. I think that is more significant than people expect. I hope this is just the start and they take it to heart and they see what it can bring to the game. When players can create their own content in a repeatable way that provides an opportunity for the developer team to focus, to have less pressure to be constantly creating new content. And we know they haven't constantly been creating new content. I mean, I'm sure they've constantly been working, but the release cycle has been a little bit slower than we all certainly want. Having an opportunity to create your own content, that is a really good tool to give the players something to fill the time with. And I say it all the time. There are games out there are MMOs that are just about the player created content. Eve, for example, they don't create, there's no scenarios, there's no instances. Well, there kind of is a little bit with pirate spawns, which is barely anything. 99% of all content in Eve is player created content. Players will even start wars with other faction corporations just so everybody's got something to do. They'll pick up and move their sovereignty just so that the hundreds of players in these big alliances have some reason to keep logging in. The leadership of these big alliances know that that's how you keep people engaged, is you create drama, you create content. So yes, this is an opportunity to create content. That's half of it. So it's the Stronghold, it's the patrol ship. In fact, we can go up to the patrol ship while we're chatting here. I'm just going to /stuck it to get up on the platform up there. We can go hang out in the sky deck up there a little bit. I'll stay in my beachwear. But that is only half of it. So we'll talk about the rest of it too, which is very PvP oriented and lots of updates to war zones. My war zone just won. I gotta go. gotta go jump in this Warzone if you don't mind. So Stronghold, what are your, I know we showed it a little bit on PTS. There are some changes. In fact, we'll go visit one of the changes which was late to the PTS, and I didn't see until today in person. The apartment on the beach. But what's your feeling? What's your update to the Stronghold, Seema? What do you like? What do you not like? What do you think?
Well, so far my favorite part is the beach and the apartment on the beach because of the whole, lounging idea. And I like that cabana that you've put out there and, offer cocktails to your guests. And if you sit up on the apartment overlook, then you can just look at the view. That's my favorite part so far. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not as excited about the PvP stuff, but, maybe I will be once we do it a few times.
Yeah, once you get to kill me a few times.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I think this Stronghold is really interesting because to me it's 3 strongholds.
I do think it's really interesting.
In fact, I'm probably going to make it my primary stronghold, but my primary part of the stronghold is going to be the beach. I'm going to live on the beach. I'm going to set up a beach area with a put my stuff down on the beach, still have my legacy storage and my GTN and stuff maybe tucked back on the one end of the beach. But I'll deck out the beach apartment and I'll be down there on the beach, and that's the beach stronghold. Then there's the pirate town stronghold. And in there, you got a couple rooms, and you got the pirate town, and you got the platforms, and then there's the patrol craft, which is its own thing as well. And within those, all wrapped around inside of all of that, you've got a little PvP dueling arena and a bigger PvP battle arena that work, that operate, that are the opportunity to create that content. So, yeah, I think it's really cool.
Oh, I'm in the observation droid. This is really cool.
Oh, really? I'm gonna have to go check that. I haven't checked that out yet. I did just climb up here on the top of the sky deck, which I'm taking credit for. Absolutely, because that video that I created of me standing up on top of the deck over on the other side. Because all they did was just put an elevator up here. They did nothing else. They didn't change this top area at all. They just said, well, if we're gonna let them climb up somewhere, might as well let them climb up over there on that big. Just put an elevator over there. But yes, I want to. Where did you get the observation droid?
I clicked on something that I thought was going to be an elevator, and it turned me into the droid.
Was it the control
I'm
panel?
still the droid.
Hutball team
I have to come
deathmatch.
back up.
No. Oh, were you? Yeah, I don't know where that control panel is, but that was one of the things they added as well. Is you can be an invisible, untargetable droid that can run around inside of a battle when a battle's going on, so you can check out what's going on and sort of be down in the action and have a good view of the action. In fact, to stream these kinds of battles, that's going to be really valuable, I think, because you'll be able to be sort of like an on-the-scene referee view, helmet cam view of the action down there as a streamer, and watch sort of the epic, PvP dueling match that maybe you've set up, the round robin dueling match. What else did they?
So the thing you click is down here on the south side of the sky deck.
Okay, I'm heading.
It says
heading
even
that
on the
way.
map it says bolsterizer, which doesn't make sense to me, but that's where it is.
So there is a way to institute bolster as well, but oh, I see, bolsterizer. That might be this other panel, which I believe allows you to institute bolster to your character's attributes, so you can even people out for PvP battles without all having to have the same gear. Or if you've got somebody in 248 and somebody else in 230, bolster will get people more equalized. But remote observation droid control console. Oh wow! Oh, and it's a cool little droid too. It's like a camera.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
And you got a little bit of the view that you can tell you're in the droid. Oh, and it moves pretty fast. Wow, this is cool. This is gonna be fun. We're gonna get some good streams of epic PvP battles as a result. So excellent. Good job, BioWare. Good job on this. Our mega event, which are our monthly Epic Guild activities, is what was that message? Observation droid moved. What just happened? I got an error message. I think I just ran into a bug. A remote observation droid out of range disconnecting. And then I got teleported out here. I got teleported back down by the beach. And now I'm still the droid and I'm running around on the beach.
Right. That happened to me too. But you can
you
can disconnect from the droid
else.
by hitting your a 1 key, basically.
Okay. Oh, there we go.
They really did just attach
Remote
this
camera
elevator.
mode.
This is awesome where they put it. Just like
Yeah, just slapped an elevator over there.
Yep, just slid it up there. Oh, my turtle came up on the next elevator after me.
Waited.
Yeah.
Well, there wasn't, it was a little shy. Wasn't a lot of room on there.
Oh, this is an awesome view.
Isn't it? It's a brilliant idea, wasn't it? And remember,
I wonder who thought of it.
This is the deco. So remember, there's a whole bunch of new decos, including a giant arena hook and a giant arena deco. So if you look here on our Stronghold, when you get up to the sky deck, there's a giant gold pillar. If you switch to edit mode of the hooks, and clicking on that gold pillar gives you the opportunity to drop a new type of decoration, which is an arena. So this large training arena is the one that will fill up the whole arena up on the sky deck and connect up to the platforms at the right level. It's made to fit right in here perfectly. So when I place it, it connects all the ramps connect up and down. What we don't have in the game, which everybody's hoping that they will add, and they sort of alluded to when they were talking about the design of this, is things like the acid traps and the flame traps from actual Hutball. That would be really cool to be able to have as decos and put custom into your matches as well. But there are a whole bunch of other hooks still here, not a ton, but there are other hooks, so you can add more decos in here. And there are a new set of decorations. They're relatively modest, but they're designed to be barriers so that you can hide behind things and break line of sight and that kind of thing. But we don't need a big Rishi hut in the middle of our deco. Can I rotate the arena? It doesn't
look like it would.
So no, you cannot rotate the arena, because that would do really weird clipping things. And I was curious of that, but I didn't try it. But now that when I look here, it says this decoration cannot be rotated on the edit interface. Okay, so that's the arena. And then there's the small arena downstairs, which is more sort of dueling arena size, or maybe a 2v2 tournament, maybe a 4v4 tournament. Although this bigger arena is really 4v4, more 4v4 sized. But that's not all that they added in this patch. So they did do, in fact, we can run through it. They did some Cartel Market stuff, which is somewhat interesting. They did some very minor class updates, a little bit of a painful crew skill update that we'll get to. Then they did a whole bunch of Warzone updates, including adding a new Warzone Arena map.
Yeah.
So this is the 4v4 arenas, either used in ranked or you can spawn into one just in a regular unranked match. But it's called the Mandalorian Battle Ring. So that's a new, you throw in a new map, and it doesn't change all that much. But when you're just stuck with a handful of maps and you're doing ranked, having a slightly different battle ring to be able to go and fight in is a nice update. Let's talk a little bit about some of the other stuff. What do you think about the Cartel Market stuff? You want to run through that and give your view there?
Okay, sure. I mean, so basically they've added what amounts to flash sales to the Cartel Market, which I like that. I like it when other vendors in real life do it. My complaint about Amazon when they do it is it's just too many. So I don't want to page through pages and pages of stuff. But I like the cartel market. It's one item at a time. Like right now, it's 50% off the mercenary contract for Treek.
Hmm.
And at the time when I'm looking at it right now, that it's available for the next 7 hours. So yeah, so basically it incents you to sort of look at it every day and see if something that you've been wanting is going to be in a really good sale.
Hmm. Okay.
In the patch notes they say there's a new tab in the CM, but it's not so much a new tab as just when you go into featured, it's like right there, the first one in featured.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Okay.
there's no new tab that says flash sale or anything like that.
Right. Right. It's just a new. They had this featured tab up at the top, didn't? Or was it just the popular? Maybe
Yeah.
no. Maybe they just had popular categories and all.
No, they had
Oh,
had
yeah,
featured
they had featured.
because that's where the sales and stuff were.
So, it's
I like this little
It's
remote
nice.
training
Nice.
probe too that's up here unfeatured. It's a new little pet, but it's like a little round orange and gray
Oh yeah.
droid pet, but he's cute.
Seema is a pet
But I
master.
didn't buy him. Yeah, I do like me some pets. So I think that's a nice change. I mean, most of the times when they make changes to the cartel market, I'm sort of not that dialed in, but I like this one.
Yeah, flash sales, discounts, that kind of thing. If you're gonna have a a
Yeah.
cartel market, and I'm slowly saving up my monthly subscription coins. Might want to buy something once in a while. I like to wait for sales and that kind of thing. So that's cool.
Yeah, and it's a little bit I know, well, we call it RNG now, but it's a little bit mysterious too. So it's worth checking back for. Like, back in the early days of gaming where there like merchants would pop up in weird places at weird times and you would only be able to buy their wares if you were playing at that moment. It sort of reminds me of that.
Yep. And even the huts won't touch some of my wares.
So yeah, I do like that.
Another part of,
I also
yeah, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say I also like double XP.
Oh yeah, I certainly do. Double XP, double CXP. Take advantage of it this week. Pop a XP boost and wait for dark side or light side, whichever your alignment is, and then open up all of those CXP operation packs that you've been saving up in your storage for just this moment, which I know some people have
And
multiple bank tabs of.
speaking of double XP, because of what somebody sort of gave the heads up in Discord yesterday, I actually popped an XP bonus thing on my Sentinel yesterday, so that when he logs in and gets his conquest rewards,
Which
it'll be
is
double XP,
which is a lot.
and a boost.
Yeah, and you get a lot of CXP for conquest, for hitting your conquest.
Yeah, like
guild target.
Like maybe he's just level 70 already in waiting, and I just have to log him in.
That would be awesome.
Yes.
One other part of the cartel market update, which I thought was interesting, is they had all of those reputations, those old cartel reputations for each of the old cartel packs that you used to turn in cartel certificates that came out of those packs to get that reputation. They basically collapsed all of those and they took the highest of any of them that you had, and they made the new Underworld Exchange cartel reputation set to that highest reputation. There was one reputation that was available which you could get the cartel reputation certificates from the slot machines that you can put in your Stronghold, which I did. And I did that one, and I pulled the lever on that slot machine very many times, and I got legendary with that reputation, and none of the other ones. In fact, I wasn't even newcomer or friendly or whatever with any of the other cartel reputations. I just don't open packs. So, maybe unfairly, I am now legendary with Underworld Exchange. Even though I was 0 with all of those other reputations. So I feel a little bad about that, but kind of not. So haha.
Bad, not bad. Oh.
What about these general? I didn't even look through too many of the general updates. Anything interesting there? Cathar fur matching, meh. Daily bonus activity fix, good. Oh, Stronghold
it
interface
seems.
sort. What do you think about
Oh,
that?
I haven't even looked
Seema?
at that.
Yeah. It's based on, so they did an initial sort, and then it matches it's based on your login with the last one you logged in. So it's the login order, the same way your characters sort on the character login screen, which is better than completely unsorted, but I don't think is as good as just making a little up-down sort button over here on the left, so you could sort them however you wanted, or being able to just click and drag to sort. But still, it's going to work perfectly fine for me. I usually pick one stronghold to be my base of operations, and I put all my characters in there. But I know we have at least one player of ours, Smoke, who sort of designs a stronghold per character or advanced class or character class, and then puts like all his Sith warriors in one particular type of stronghold decorated to match them. So he wants, when he logs in those characters, for that stronghold to be on the top. And he, or at least to be able to order the strongholds out how he wants. And he's not able to do that at the moment.
That's kind of weird because, first of all, when I first looked at them, I go, they're not in alphabetical order, but they are, because all my Coruscant apartments are first.
Mm. And then Manon.
And then all my Cod City apartments, yeah.
And then Narshada,
but like the actual names of them are not in alphabetical order. So that was one thing I don't know, I just thought it would be by name.
Or like the title of the stronghold, like my Chamber of Deception, my House of Lies.
Yeah. Well, mine is Seema's Stronghold. But
clever.
Yeah, the one that I've gone in and out today is still on page 3. But we'll see. Tried a few more times. There were lag issues when I first logged in too, so I think something was going on.
Mine did. My Yavin did pop to the top. So there is that. There are also some minor corrections and bug updates to a few other things, including the weird situation that was happening, which is really an exploit of conquest objectives auto-completing and granting repeat completion when doing weird things with changing zones, and you know who you are, you conquest abusers. So hopefully that stuff is all fixed up. And here's one other thing with Conquest. And we talked about this, actually sent notes. I either sent a note or I just posted on Twitter and added the SWTOR team. But specifically, we didn't like how the ability to, there was no timer that prevented you from picking a planet to invade until the last possible moment and taking all the points that you had earned as individuals for that week and applying them to that planet. And this is especially problematic if you're looking to win. In fact, it's only problematic when you're looking to win a planet, because that's all that matters. So in the Total Galactic War Week, when there were 19 planets up for grabs, our guild wanted to win a planet. It was our first time ever really going for it and really trying for it and putting together a strategy and getting everybody ready, having a couple leaders that had won planets in other guilds before helping us out. So we got towards the end of the week and we realized we hadn't invaded. It was Thursday. There was no timer and we didn't need to invade. By Saturday morning, we decided, nah, this isn't right. We're still going to be trying to win a planet, but we're going to feel terrible about coming in at the last minute. Let's invade Saturday morning. That's still a day and a half later than we would have had to in the old model. So we did. But we made the point we communicated back out, hey, this is a thing, BioWare. You got to think about that. You got to think about the impact of guilds being able to sort of snipe another guild at the last minute, collect up a whole bunch of points, and imagine being in a guild and going all weekend, all through the week and all weekend thinking that you're winning, and then getting to like Monday morning and having another guild steal it out from under you and you having no time to react. That would feel pretty bad.
Yeah.
Now they did move it up. They pulled it back in, but they only pulled it back in a day. So now it's Sunday morning is the new deadline, and it'll be apparent to everyone that there is this deadline. It's Sunday morning. I still think that's late. I think they should move it
But
back to like Friday or Thursday.
at least it's a game now, right? So like if
Yeah.
you're the guild that's leading going into Sunday, you have to have a strategy in place where you still have some points banked in case, or maybe you don't play all your points that you have. You're kind of laying low because what if somebody does come in on Sunday, and then you can put your points in, and then you can have this battle on Sunday, Monday. And yes, they only moved it back one day, but they actually extended Conquest today, basically, too.
Right, and it's now clear, and it's now explicit, and
Yes.
that alone, rather than it being uncertain, makes is probably a bigger deal than anything else. So yeah, that's that. The minor class updates, they basically just fixed a problem that Shadows and Assassins had when trying to use Force Breach between levels 12 and 16. Boring. Tell me about Biochem, Seema. Tell me about Conquest and Biochem. Break my heart.
So Biochem, they said they were going to remove the duplicate items, Conquest items. And essentially what they did was they removed the two versions of infantry supply kits that you could make with just two types of cell graphs. So now, like all the other crafting crew skills, you have to have 5 different cell graphs to make infantry supply kits.
Yeah. That's tough. Those the new Conquest objectives where you're needing to make those war supplies with 6 different grades of materials. It's just the gathering process to go and get all of those materials and collect those up over time, and then worrying about, well, if you want the starship weapons, then it's 3, 5, 7, 8, and 9, and if you want the armored vehicles, then it's 2, 4, 6, 8, and 9. So, oh geez, and then it's 2 items in each of those grades. So I'm low on grade 3 artifact fragments. So suddenly, even though there's 12 things I need, I'm low on that one, and it's a problem. So it's
the thing I
headache.
don't like about that is if once you're like that, like you have more power crystals than artifact fragments of a certain grade, you can never even them out by gathering.
No.
You're going to have to buy some artifact fragments at some point if you actually want to even them out. Which,
Or
of course, I do want to even them out.
or send your followers on missions for
That's
that one in
true.
particular.
And I have done that too. Yeah.
But yeah, it's not easy to even them out, and I don't know how they get uneven. How am I ending up with like twice the amount with some of these? Unless I sold some at some point or did something weird. I don't know.
I think for me, because I know I've got to the GTN and I'll sometimes buy mats if they're under a certain price. And I know that I've probably there have been times when I bought power crystals and didn't buy fragments and the other way around. And,
okay.
Differently. I think that's how it is for me. Not that, and I might have sold them too at some point, but I haven't sold them recently.
Yeah. Okay. I haven't bought any, but I definitely could have sold some in the past and got out of balance that way.
Yeah.
Couple other minor updates, some fixes to a couple flashpoints, Anathema Conspiracy, Traitor Among the Chiss, relatively boring. Items in economy, couple Stronghold. So the Stronghold decorations being used to block line of sight. There are quite a few updates to existing Stronghold decorations that also block line of sight, and that's going to be interesting and useful when you want to put a big statue of Isaacs in the middle of your arena and use that as an obstacle for a PvP arena or something like that. And then they added, it seems like they had to do extra work for these, which I can imagine. They added a bunch of tuning slots to about 7 or 8 different, 6 different weapons here that were probably difficult to add that tuning slot to, because you have to add the animation for like if you look at my
Right.
my blasters.
They had
I have
they
fire
had to do
coming out
something
of them.
manual.
They spark and there's flames coming out of them because they're defective, like all of my armor, and it's pretty beat up, you know, because I work hard for my bounties. But yeah, they had to figure out how to map that animation onto those, and most of my notice are at least 3 of them, 4 of them are 3 of them are bowcasters. My Vanguard, my main on the Republic side is a Vanguard tank, and he runs with a bowcaster, which I think is pretty cool. I think it's the Kashyyyk one.
I mean, I think it's kind of cool because they said relatively soon after tuning slots came out that their goal was to go back and get all the weapons fixed.
Yeah.
To have a tuning slot, and you know, even though it's been a while, like they haven't forgotten it. There's a few more coming out right now.
Yep. So as you can see here, I'm showing off the gun show, if you know what I mean. Warzone Fixes. So there's also been a bunch of Warzone Fixes in addition to the Warzone game updates, which we'll get to last, and the new arena that they put in. There have been a bunch of Warzone tweaks and fixes, and a lot of them have been focused around just tuning up and making Warzone battles and ranked PvP a little bit more fair in some specific situations. Less ability or opportunity to even cheat if you are going to be cheating and trying to do some hacking. They made things like if you're able to teleport yourself out of the map or up above or under the ground, they made those areas kill zones, so you die if you do that. They made it where if you manage to get yourself out of the starting areas in a few different situations, you die. So that's interesting and certainly appreciated. Another big one, which Zen mentions in the chat room, all Warzone and Starfighter queues are now cross-faction. So that means you could be grouped up with Imperial and Republic players on one side in a match playing against other Imperial and Republic players in order to broaden the pool of available players to put together a team and hopefully, potentially, balance those teams slightly more effectively and not end up with, you know, 2 healers, a tank, and a DPS on one side and 4 DPS in low-level gear on the other side. It's still going to happen. You know, just keep that in mind. When it happens to you, there's still opportunities for that to happen because, and they explain this with some of the work that was going on the PTS, it's going to try. It's going to try hard. But if it's going to sit there and try to get a balanced match and not be able to, it's then going to default to, well, let's just get a match going. If there's just a fixed group with 2 healers and a DPS over here, and all I've got is 4 DPS over here, and I've been waiting for another healer to queue up, and they haven't for long enough now, they're just going to make the match start. So it'll still, in theory, be trying. We'll have to still test for ourselves how good that code is, but that's what they're gonna go for. Galactic Starfighter also matchmaking better account for player experience along with their currently selected ship loadout. So there's a...
That is a great outfit, Max.
It's the best look in the world. What? What are you talking about? It's like wetsuit pants. And
I'm never going to think about whenever we start calling out Banana Hammock the same way. The way the light is, it looks like you're actually wearing. It's actually like pants. But in the stream, it just looks like no pants.
Seema, you gotta get your mind out of the gutter.
Sorry, I took up permanent residence a while back.
It's a beach. You gotta wear the beach wear. That's it.
I know.
I'm
I just
embarrassed.
I wanted to. I just didn't have any.
And just stops looking at my pants, if you know what I mean. There we go. I do find that interesting for Galactic Starfighter. I always used to sandbag a little bit. See, if you look at my Galactic Starfighter loadout, I only have 3 ships on my Galactic Starfighter loadout. I don't know if everybody knows this, but you can actually drag these ships around, and even if you have a whole bunch of ships unlocked, which I do, you don't have to have any more than 1 in your ship loadout for what you're going to bring into a match. So I always have defaulted to 3 ships. The only 3 ships I would really fly in a match. So I go in there, and I know people are thinking, oh, here's some noob with only 3 ships. And then I lock down a satellite with my bomber and, do really, really good defense, which is usually the main role I play. And then I know in the back of my mind, I'm saying, yeah, you thought that I was going to be bad, and now I'm not. What do you think of that? I don't know if nobody probably pays attention, but that's the story I tell myself.
No, I'm sure you're absolutely right. I'm sure they're all thinking
that. So let's go through, let's do a quick run through of the updates to the war zones. And I'm just going to touch on them. We're not going to go into detail on this. So I'm pretty familiar with the war zone, so I'll go through it, Seema. Feel free to interject.
Okay.
But what they've done with most of the war zones is design changes to the match and how long the matches run and how you get points, so that the time of the match can be a little bit closer to a target of, I think they were going for about 12 minutes per round, 15 minutes per round. So they weren't going super, super long, and it was more opportunity for action and activity to influence the match, rather than, sitting around doing nothing, defensively camping a node and that doing, that getting you what you needed. So in Alderaan just is pretty much the same, but the turrets tick slightly faster, which means the whole match is going to end a little bit more quickly. When you have if you have 2 or 3 turrets, it's just going to end more quickly. Ancient hypergates, the scoring with the orbs is now more points. So there's more reason to take control of the center of the map and not just go off and just shoot other players. It's always a terrible idea in Ancient hypergates to go solo and go think that you're going to pick people off and go keep feeding kills to the other team. So don't do that. But now, as the rounds ramp up, each of the orbs that you pull from the center and run back to your hypergate are worth increasing points per round. So we'll still have to see if that really changes the strategy, or if people don't pay attention, they just go off and try to kill people anyway. But that's what they did there. Hutball. Now, I think Hutball worked relatively well regardless, but they did a couple things. One, they said, let's see, I think you can't catch the Hutball while stunned. They didn't want that happening. They also wanted to make sure that you can't hold the Hutball for too long. If you're a ball carrier, after 45 seconds, the ball will explode and kill you. It used to do it at 120 seconds. So this is more incentive to be passing the ball, which has always been a best practice anyway in Hutball. If you watch any teams that are really good, there's a lot of passing going on, rather than just give it to the Juggernaut, or give it to the Vanguard, which is spec'd with all the speed boosts and the hold the line and let them just run the whole map, because that's boring. They also did a bunch of tweaks so that as you throw the ball, catch the ball, you're getting more attacker and defender points. You're getting points for both being a receiver and being an attacker. So you're going to get more medals, again, for participating, which I think is good. Deep breath. And Navari Coast. So Navari Coast, you can't cap outside the intended range of 20 meters, because there were tricks you could do with phase walk that allow you to do that in bad ways. But otherwise, they mostly left Navari Coast unchanged. Void Star. Void Star was always one of my favorite. A lot of people weren't all that happy with Void Star. I really like Void Star. Void Star, they did change, though, again, to smooth out the match. So Doors now take 6 seconds to arm, down from 8 seconds. So that's to plant the bomb on the door. Now takes only 6 seconds. And that puts it in the range for you to get, if your Stunbreaker is down, for you to get sapped and drop a bomb on a door if you're single defending a door. So don't single defend doors anymore. Defenders now have down to 15 seconds to disarm doors, down from 20. So a little bit of a balance there. It's still very hard to disarm doors. The channel time for extending the bridge and lowering the shields is now 6 seconds, down from 8. Again, getting through the doors and getting across the bridges, more incentive to move things forward and push the map, push the range, the map, push the match along in progress a little more effectively. Force fields are now blocking the reactor room doors until the bridges are extended. So there was also the problem of there being tricky ways to get across the gaps where the bridges are, and maybe it was legit, or maybe it was not, but you can now no longer do that and get to the doors and plant the bombs on the reactor room doors until you get those bridges down, which I think is very fair. And then they did a couple of the force field respawn adjustments. It was a long time you had to spend up in the force field areas. So they dropped it by 6 seconds, from 30 seconds down to 24, and I sort of like that. In a couple of these, they also said that the intro cinematics have been updated. I'll be interested to see what those are, because that's just flavor. But I see that here under Navarre Coast and under Void Star. So we'll check that out too. And the last one is Yavin. Teams now start with 500 points, down from 600. And when they die, they reduce their team's score by 2, which is up from 0. So,
So in other words, it's a new feature.
yes. So in the Yavin map, there is incentive to be killing people, which there was not necessarily before. So all of those updates, Seema, I know that's probably makes PvP much more attractive to you now, doesn't it?
Now I can see now that since everything has been made more smooth. No, but really, why is on the Yavin map, why was there no incentive to kill people? I mean,
I think it was just because it's an objective map. There was you were originally incented to play the objectives, which I think is a good design goal. But now it's saying you can go out there and you can make an impact by killing people as well. Maybe it just shakes things up rather than, again, having a very boring static match where you just play the objective and nothing else happens.
right. Well, in that map, are the two teams able to play their own objectives without really interacting?
No, but because it's very similar to the Alderaan Warzone. So you still need to, there's 3 objectives and you need to hold 2 of them. But
Gotcha.
and Zen's also saying it's a factor to potentially shorten the game. And yeah, I don't know, maybe it just shortens the game.
Yeah.
Maybe if you hold 2, if you're holding 2 and you're camping in them and you're holding them down, it's incentive for you to go out there and still be hunting the other players on the other team rather than just sitting there with your 2 and being bored.
Right.
Because you can finish the game up faster.
That makes sense. Yeah.
All right.
And that's why people don't like to defend, because it's boring.
Right. Although I do a lot
It's
of
boring
defending.
until it's not.
Yeah.
It's like boring, and then it's like.
I do a lot of defending in Starfighter. In fact, I switched over. I used to play. No, I mean, even they're not that great anymore. But I used to play the Scouts. So I used to play the Scouts, which is sort of a fast ship. Go out there, I'd do Scouts with missiles, and I'd be running around real fast and blowing people up. But it was sort of frenetic, and you have to be chasing people down. You have to be escaping. And I switched to Bomber, and I was able to just sort of like do a really important job, but also sort of relax, lay my bombs down, and still have periods of very intense battle. where I could have a couple enemy team players coming and attacking my satellite, and I'm there solo defending it, and I not only need to stay alive but try to clear them off the node, or at least hold them off until other players can come. And I can be very effective in laying down the damage in those cases as well. But I don't have to be constantly flying around in the flash fire, bursting around, and going intense on the keyboard for the whole match.
Right.
And if I'm going to do
Right.
quite a lot of Starfighter, I appreciate being able to do what I need to do and then hold that node, and then also be able to take a deep breath, look at the map, look a little more strategically, and don't have to be spazzing out the whole time. Same in regular PvP, so I don't mind defense once in a while. And then you get those defensive medals. Don't forget those. More medals if you do sit and defend for at least a little bit in the
I did
matches.
forget those.
Did you, Seema?
Yeah.
Were you forgetting that?
I did.
Well, there you go.
I was.
All right. Anything else for this patch update, Seema, that you want to give a shout out to, or
I guess
make a
if
note
you
of?
had any difficulty getting the Darth Hexed companion, you should be able to do that now via the alert
Yes.
if you qualify for her.
And I like her. I like Darth Hexed. She's some people don't like melee companions. There are certain situations where I would prefer a melee companion and even a melee healer, because what she'll do is she'll keep up with you and keep close to you. I don't like often necessarily when I have a ranged healer and I'm playing a tank and I leap in, I hit a couple of the mobs, but then there's another mob that goes run way back where Shea Vizsla's way back behind me healing.
Right.
That gets annoying. Then I'm like, oh, fine, okay, I'll kill these two, or then I can try to taunt that one, and it's a pain. Whereas if I have a healer companion that's staying right next to me, even if the mobs aggro on that healer companion, I can do AoEs at cleaves, and I'm killing all the mobs. So there's that.
Yeah, and I like Darth Hexed. Well, I get the little delay, right, from the melee companions if they're doing DPS, right? Because I usually have mine set on DPS. But at the same time, since I had a bunch of gifts that work for her, she's a higher. When I'm using her, it's because she's a higher influence level, which makes way more difference than the little delay.
Yes, that's absolutely true as well.
So I feel that it's an advantage to have her.
Pro tip for everybody else out there, you can keybind your companion's abilities, including their main attack, which I keybind to one of my mouse buttons. So if I have a companion that I need to be attacking, if I have like a DPS companion and I need them out there, jumping into battle very quickly, I'll be clicking my mouse. I'll be clicking on a mob or tab targeting and clicking that mouse button as I'm jumping into battle to making sure that they're out there and attacking with me.
I have my attack and retreat for my companion on my scroll wheel of my mouse.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I scroll forward to send them in and scroll back to
attack.
And that's how I control them to get them out of
attack.
Yeah. Well, if I need to get them out of fire or something,
right,
I can pull them back easily.
A lot of soloing, especially of like master mode chapters and things like that, you do need some of that detailed companion management. And then, as the chat room says, some of those force healers are the only ones that do effective burst healing, which again, for some of those master mode chapters could be critical. All right, we've been talking for a while. It's exciting to have a patch update. Remember, AIE members, a couple things. Friday, practice rounds, 9 p.m. Eastern with Marcus in the Rishi Stronghold. Mega event coming up later in the month. And all of our summer events, I put together a post on aie-guild.org, which summarized all of the events. I went a little RP in how I wrote up that post, so check it out. And we've just put together a YouTube channel, which collected up a lot of those replays that we had on our Twitch streams across a few of our streams in the official AIE Guild Twitch channel. So check out those videos, get some views on those YouTube videos, because I posted a bunch up there and a bunch still have 0 views because we haven't even told anybody that we have the channel yet. So it's there. Look up AIE Guild or just click on those links in the blog post on aie-guild.org and you'll see them. And with that, I think we can take our EPC 253 droid and kick him out an airlock to broadcast this episode to all of you. Please keep up with us on Twitter at MaxTheGray and at AIESEMA. And if you know any cool people out there that should be playing with us, we've had some really awesome people joining the guild lately. That's super cool. I really appreciate it. Come join. Find our Discord on aie-guild.org on our main guild website. There's a link at the top where you can look under guild resources and get onto our Discord. Come catch up with us on Twitter at MaxTheGray and at AIESEMA. We are on Starforge. You can come find us on Starforge and ask us for an AIE Guild invite. We would love to have you. And we'll talk to you soon.
Later, everyone.